55%. Chapter 321 Beauty Shah, Help. When the collection and surrender work of Elf Garden is completed, Lin Yu has already gained millions of subjects and believers. Among them, the largest number is the nature elves. Next are the unicorns and tree people. The number of elf dragons and fairy dragons is still very rare. All added together, there are only 200 or 300. In addition, most of the millions of elf camp believers are in their infancy, and their combat power is not strong. This is because the majority of elite professionals in Elf Garden have already joined the battlefield and surrendered earlier. However, even in their infancy, it doesn't matter. Because they have joined Paradise Town, they have the ability to increase their strength level by killing enemies and obtaining primal energy rewards. Growing up is very simple. After all, they are all apex level units. Whether it's nature elves, tree people, unicorns, or elf dragons, fairy dragons, they are all apex level units. Let's not talk about their individual combat power for now. At least their growth potential has reached the level of saint rank. Some exceptionally talented ones even have the growth potential limit of demigod level. As long as they work hard to kill enemies, they can quickly become powerful. Also, Lin Yu doesn't need to worry about equipment. Nature elves are a race skilled in crafting equipment, and basically every faction stronghold tribe has elven blacksmiths. So even those young elves are mostly fully armed. What Lin Yu needs to do is to wait for them to grow up and distribute the high-level equipment they have obtained to further enhance their strength. Soon, teleportation arrays were built in various areas of the Elf Garden. Some natural elves led teams to start hunting in the surrounding areas. Some natural elves concentrated the tribe's reserves of food, wood, iron ore, metal materials, and other supplies and transported them to Lin Yu's Paradise Town. From now on, Paradise Town will be their base. They will live in Paradise Town. And they will grow under the protection of Lin Yu and the Angel Army. For them, as apex-level units, the small floating island world is not their destination. Their future lies on the battlefield of myriad worlds. As long as they are fortunate enough to achieve a bloodline evolution, they will have the growth potential of a demigod and qualify to set foot on the battlefield of myriad worlds. If they are even luckier, they will become true gods. Then their future on the battlefield of myriad worlds will be even brighter. In order to help the units under the Overlord become stronger, the world rules of the floating island also provide many methods, such as unit evolution blueprints, the mutation evolution of the spirit field space, and so on. In this regard, the world rules of the floating island treat all Overlord professionals equally. It's just that the growth path of low-level Overlords is relatively more difficult compared to high-level Overlords and apex-level Overlords. But as long as they work hard enough and are lucky enough, low-level Overlords can also rise to the top. Not long after, a full-scale war broke out in the eastern region of the Dark Forest ruled by Elf Garden. In addition to the main army of Elf Garden, there were also large numbers of Angel Legion, Mountain Giant Legion, Forest Troll Legion, and other racial armies that were teleported from Paradise Town. Their enemies were the wild monsters in this area, and the strongholds of other indigenous races. The war plan of Paradise Town was simple: to completely eliminate the wild monsters and indigenous strongholds in the Dark Forest, and concentrate all the resources. Then, with a strong force, attack the neighboring Runkle Prairie. Just as the eastern region was descending into chaos. In a jungle in the same region, tens of thousands of combat professionals gathered together. Tens of thousands of combat professionals were already a very powerful force. But now, they dared not make a move. Because above them, there were nearly 10,000 massive frost dragons hovering. Among them, the highest level frost dragon had reached level 9. Compared to the troops of other overlords, the growth rate of these frost dragons was already very fast. And they were Sha Qingyu's exclusive troops. Sha Qingyu's territory was not far away. The purpose of the tens of thousands of combat professionals gathering here was to seek refuge in Sha Qingyu's territory. Currently, a war was happening everywhere in the eastern region of the Dark Forest, and Lin Yu's Angel Legion had also entered this area. They were very worried about encountering Lin Yu's angels and being mistaken as heretics. Coincidentally, someone exposed the location of Sha Qingyu's territory, Dragon's Nest. So, soon, combat professionals from the surrounding areas gathered one after another, hoping to receive Sha Qingyu's protection. Because they all knew that Sha Qingyu was now half a resident of Paradise Town. Her territory would not be invaded by the Angel Legion. However, the wishes of these combat professionals were not fulfilled. Because Sha Qingyu did not open the gates of her territory for them. They also did not dare to force their way in. After all, Sha Qingyu's Frost Dragon Legion was monitoring from the sky, and there were high-level arrow towers standing on the walls of the territory. Anyone with malicious intent would undoubtedly die. Sha Beauty, save us. Lin Yu has completely occupied Elf Garden's territory. The entire eastern region is at war, and only your place is the safest. Leader Sha, I am a member of the Midsummer Night Alliance. Don't abandon me. Many combat professionals shouted loudly, hoping that Sha Qingyu would let them into her territory. Inside the territory, Sha Qingyu was somewhat troubled. She didn't know whether she should let these combat professionals in, not because she was worried that they had ulterior motives, but because she didn't know how Lin Yu treated combat professionals. She was no longer the free person she used to be. After hesitating for a moment, Sha Qingyu contacted the village chief of Bright Village and asked him to relay the situation here to Lin Yu. There was no other way. She didn't have Lin Yu as a friend. 55%. Chapter 322 Another Day of Envy for Boss Lin Yu. Meanwhile, the chat channel on the island also started buzzing. Even though it was daytime, countless professionals gathered in the channel. Especially those professionals in Dark Forest, almost all of them ran into the channel. Something big is happening. Paradise Town is implementing a comprehensive extermination plan against Dark Forest. Everywhere, there are troops from Paradise Town. My location is at least 1,000 kilometers away from Paradise Town, but there are also mountain giant legions that have joined Paradise Town appearing nearby. What's 1,000 kilometers? Our team is close to the edge of Dark Forest, and we have also seen a large number of angels flying across the sky. The entire Dark Forest is engulfed in the flames of war. What these professionals said is true. Paradise Town is indeed conquering the entire Dark Forest. Not only the Bone Temple in the north and the Elf Garden in the east are experiencing war. The Naga Kingdom in the south and the region that was originally ruled by the Mountain Giant Kingdom in the west are also in the midst of war. Paradise Town has dispatched millions of angel legions and millions of troops. They were scattered to these four regions through teleportation arrays. Especially in the west and north, it is the main force of Paradise Town's extermination. As for the east and south, Paradise Town has not sent many troops. Because the Elf Garden and the Naga Kingdom, which rule these two regions, have already attached themselves to Paradise Town. It is their task to exterminate the eastern and southern regions. But no matter what, there is indeed no peaceful area in Dark Forest. And this has caused the battle professionals and overlord professionals in Dark Forest to dare not go out to hunt wild monsters anymore. They are afraid of encountering Lin Yu's troops and being mistaken as enemies and killed. The overlords are hiding in their own territories. The battle professionals either hide in shelters or gather near those territories. Just like the tens of thousands of battle professionals gathered near Sha Qingyu's territory. They hope to enter Sha Qingyu's territory for refuge. In order to safely survive Paradise Town's comprehensive extermination of Dark Forest. Damn. To exterminate the entire Dark Forest, how many troops would they need? 1 million might not be enough. 1 million troops. You're underestimating Paradise Town too much. Paradise Town first captured the Mountain Giant Kingdom, then successively conquered the Bone Temple, Elf Garden, and Naga Kingdom. They now have at least several million troops. Several million. That's so terrifying. The truth is often the most terrifying. It's difficult for other overlords to subdue the local races, but for Paradise Town, it's a piece of cake. Because Lin Yu's exclusive troops are angels. Their specialty is conquering through faith. Previously, there were professionals who witnessed with their own eyes that when Angel Legion attacked a forest troll tribe, they did not start a war or engage in killing, but instead used some kind of divine magic. After a set of divine magic, all the forest trolls in that tribe disarmed and surrendered. They knelt on the ground, shouting praises to the great Lord of Holy Light. The angels are too incredible. Just a side note, who is the Lord of Holy Light? The Lord of Holy Light is the god of faith of the angel race, also known as Lin Yu, the boss. No way. Lin Yu is clearly a professional. How did he become the god of faith of the angel race? Who knows, but that's the truth. My troops come from the Bright Camp, and they told me that the Lord of Holy Light has descended to the Dark Forest. Who else could it be if not Lin Yu, the boss? That's the advantage of having angel troops. Lin Yu doesn't need to do anything. He directly ascended from an overlord professional to a god of faith with a divine title. Another day of envy for the boss Lin Yu. Envy +1. For a while, the chat channel was filled with countless envious professionals. Compared to the professionals who were still struggling to survive. Among the group of Lin Yu, who descended to this floating island world, not only became the god of faith, but also possessed millions of troops, about to conquer the dark forest region. The professionals' hearts were no longer just filled with envy. More than anything, it was admiration and reverence. Even those high-level overlords and apex-level overlords could only look up to the current Lin Yu. When the army of Paradise Town finishes clearing the dark forest and consolidates all the resources, the scale of the army under the command of the boss Lin Yu is probably going to exceed tens of millions. While the angels are surrendering, the boss Lin Yu is summoning with gold coins. It shouldn't be a problem to exceed tens of millions. Tens of millions of troops, this is too terrifying. In addition, the boss Lin Yu also has war weapons like the City of Angels. Perhaps after ruling the Dark Forest, it's not impossible to directly conquer the entire floating island. Indeed, it's hard to imagine, it's only been half a month since his arrival. Those veteran overlord professionals couldn't conquer a floating island even after a whole year. But Lin Yu, at most, only needs a month to become the ruler of an island. This speed is too fast. If this were a novel world, Lin Yu would definitely be the protagonist. Then who is the antagonist? Golden Behemoth Overlord. Are you implying me? Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. In fact, the professionals in the chat channel still underestimated Paradise Town. Because after capturing the strongholds of the Elf Garden and the Naga Kingdom, the total size of the army of Paradise Town had already exceeded tens of millions. When they finish clearing the Dark Forest, the number of troops under Lin Yu's command may reach over 30 million. 55%. Chapter 323. No one knows my name anyway. Paradise Town is conducting a comprehensive eradication of the Dark Forest, which is highly stimulating for the professionals on the island. Because this signifies the birth of a transcendent level force that will rule over a large region. Moreover, this force is not a local one. The rulers are professionals just like them. At this moment, the professionals on the island can't imagine the extent of the gap between them and Lin Yu. They even compare Lin Yu to a deity. And they are mere mortals. Now, Lin Yu has already become the master of life and death for all professionals in the Dark Forest. Perhaps, not long from now, Lin Yu will dominate the fate of all professionals on the island. In terms of level, Lin Yu has already reached the realm of a demigod, wielding a power of laws that is beyond their reach. Influence, strength, surpassing everything. What else could this be if not a god? Great Alliance Channel. Why is there such a huge gap even though we are all apex level overlords? Under Lin Yu's command, there are millions of troops. And my troops, I only have a few thousand, not even comparable to a fraction of Lin Yu's. Stop talking, we are all the same. Lin Yu and us are not from the same world. I just hope Lin Yu has forgotten about the last incident, otherwise I'll be in big trouble. Don't worry, in Lin Yu's eyes, you're just a small fry. Lin Yu won't hold a grudge against you. But as for the Golden Behemoth Overlord, that's not certain. Damn, what did I do? I just spread some rumors among the professionals in the chat channel, it's not a big deal. From beginning to end, everything I did didn't cause any substantial harm to Lin Yu. That's true, but if I were Lin Yu, the first person I would kill when attacking Runkle Prairie would definitely be you. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Seeing this message, the Golden Behemoth Overlord, who is in the Great Grassland, immediately turned green. Since he arrived in the floating island world and learned that Lin Yu is also an apex level overlord like him, he has been wanting to suppress Lin Yu, even trample him underfoot. As a result, Lin Yu's growth rate was like riding a rocket. In the blink of an eye, he left him in the dust. Now, he commands an army of millions and is about to rule over a large region. Looking at his Golden Behemoth Legion, there are only 8,000. Compared to other apex-level overlords, he is already powerful enough. But compared to Lin Yu, he appears weak and vulnerable. At this moment, he has no trace of arrogance as an apex-level overlord, trembling in his own territory. Just like the overlord in the channel said, he is now afraid that Lin Yu will lead a large army to attack Runkle Prairie. Because that day will be his doomsday. What scares him the most? He also asked Myriad World's floating island and learned that the interdimensional teleportation array leading to the Blue Star has indeed collapsed. Before the teleportation array is repaired, no professionals can return to Blue Star. This also means that once Lin Yu comes to kill, there is no escape. Before, Lin Yu had declared in the island's chat channel that he would punish those professionals who spread rumors, and even remembered their names. From this, it can be seen that Lin Yu is a petty person. If it falls into his hands, he will definitely not let me go. Inside the territory, the golden behemoth overlord wearing a black battle armor muttered with an ugly expression. Among the tens of millions of professionals on the island, he is the one most afraid of encountering Lin Yu. Originally, just yesterday, he had been praying and firmly believed that with the 3 local transcendent level forces in the Dark Forest joining forces, they would definitely be able to capture Lin Yu's Paradise Town. It would be best to directly kill Lin Yu. That way, he would have no worries. But the result was the opposite. Paradise Town not only won the war, but also surrendered a massive number of local elite troops, forming an army of millions. Not only did Lin Yu's territory not collapse, but his influence suddenly skyrocketed by an unknown number of times. How can he play like this? When he received this news, the whole person of the Golden Behemoth Overlord was dumbfounded. Feeling extremely desperate, because he knew that from this moment on, there was no power that could threaten Lin Yu. And it was only a matter of time before Lin Yu's army marched into Runkle Prairie. Perhaps in a few days, the Angel Legion would appear on Runkle Prairie. And he would also meet his own doomsday. I can't just sit and wait for death. I must find a way to get through this. Thinking hard, the Golden Behemoth Overlord seemed to have only one path to take. That is to go and seek refuge with the Beast Clan Court that rules over Runkle Prairie, and rely on the power of the Beast Clan Court to confront Lin Yu head-on. Perhaps there might be a glimmer of hope. As for contacting the professionals on the prairie to oppose Paradise Town, he didn't consider it. The reason is simple. There is no professional on the island, including overlords, who dares to confront Lin Yu head-on. If he takes this path, in the end, he might be killed by those professionals who joined in with false intentions, and then his body would be sent to Lin Yu as a trophy. Therefore, professionals cannot be relied upon. What he can rely on instead are those local forces. As long as he can gain the recognition of the Beast Clan Court, he can lean on a big tree. If this path doesn't work either, I will have to burn my bridges. Abandon the identity of an apex-level overlord and become a combat professional. After all, no one knows my real name. Thinking of this, the mood of the Golden Behemoth Overlord unexpectedly lightened. As if seeing light and hope. 56%. Chapter 324 The Power of 10 Laws. Evening arrived. As the sky gradually darkened, Lin Yu finally finished a whole day of comprehending the laws. The process of comprehending the laws was not actually dull and boring. On the contrary, it was filled with passion. Because every time Lin Yu comprehended and mastered a law, he could clearly feel the improvement of his own strength. This feeling was extremely wonderful. No less enjoyable than nighttime entertainment. If it weren't for him sensing that a large number of subjects were returning to the territory, he wouldn't want to break away from the comprehension of the law's mysteries. After a day of seclusion and cultivation, I have once again mastered 4 types of law power. They are life, frost, swift wind, and darkness. Adding to the 6 types of law I previously mastered, I now have a total of 10 types of laws. For one person to master 10 different attributes of law power was truly astonishing. At least in this floating island world, it could be considered unprecedented. Generally speaking, ordinary demigods only master 1 or 2 laws. Demigods with high talent and special life races might master 3 or even 4 laws. But a demigod who masters 10 laws has never existed before. Apart from not having enough talent, the main concern was not being able to pass the trial of the divine fire. After all, the more laws one mastered, the stronger the power of the divine fire. If one were to be burned to death directly while igniting the divine fire due to their unparalleled talent, where would they go to reason? Therefore, the vast majority of demigods dare not surpass their own limits. In contrast, Lin Yu had no such worries. With the protection of the power of creation, he could freely manipulate his level and comprehend the mysteries of the laws. The reason for manipulating his level was because Lin Yu had already reached the demigod late stage. The next step was to ignite the divine fire and ascend to the peak of the demigods. He could start this process at any time now. But he didn't do it. Since advancing to the demigod late stage, all the gathered primal energy had been forcibly suppressed within his body, including the primal energy he obtained from clearing the dark forest today. Throughout the day, his army of millions completely cleared the dark forest. Not only did they kill a massive number of wild monsters, they also captured numerous local power strongholds. As an overlord, he naturally received a huge reward of primal energy. He sealed all of this primal energy. And he used the power of creation to seal it. Under the intimidation of the power of creation, that primal energy was as well behaved as a good baby, not daring to make the slightest movement. Therefore, Lin Yu didn't have to worry about having too much primal energy in his body, which would force him to ignite the divine fire. He could freely comprehend the mysteries of the laws and enhance the foundation of his ascension to godhood. Lin Yu hopes to be able to master the power of hundreds of different attribute laws, just like Secretary and before becoming a god. After becoming a god, he might even directly become a middle-ranking god, or even a high-ranking god. The current efforts are paving the way for future strength. Additionally, they can save a lot of time for future promotions. Putting aside the origin scepter and the divine armor of glory. With my current strength, I can already contend with the peak demigods. The combination of 10 different attribute laws is probably not something that the renowned Elf Queen, Dragon Emperor, and Beast Emperor in the local forces can match. This is not arrogance, but confidence. After all, among the 10 laws that Lin Yu has mastered, there is the existence of the law of time. Just a single law of time is enough to make him invincible. Furthermore, time and space can be integrated. After integration, a higher level of space-time laws will be formed. Space-time laws have even greater power. If I can master the laws of space and time, maybe I can break through the world barrier and return to Blue Star without relying on the cross-border teleportation array of the floating island. Or even enter other floating island worlds. Thinking of this, Lin Yu's desire to master the law of space becomes urgent. Tomorrow is the last day for the refresh of the glory item menu. I have to exchange more law stones so that I won't suffer losses from the skyrocketing prices after the refresh. If I can exchange for law stones of space, that would be the best. If not, then I will burn my faith power and create and comprehend it myself. Lin Yu plans to master the law of space in the near future. He swears to figure out the law of space-time. Without thinking any further, Lin Yu got up and left the second-floor bedroom, heading to the hall on the first floor. In the hall, there were a large number of equipment and potions displayed. These things came from the blacksmith workshop and pharmacist's mansion of the territory, and after selling them, they brought in a large income. Just at this moment, a huge yet exceptionally beautiful figure walked into the hall of the Overlord. On this figure, Lin Yu even saw an extremely enchanting charm that no other fallen angel possessed. And this figure was Victoria. What surprised Lin Yu was that this 10-winged fallen angel, who had just been summoned in the morning, had already advanced to the level of a 12-winged angel. Becoming his second 12-winged angel, on par with the chief secretary, Angelia. Fallen angel Victoria, greetings to the Supreme Creator. Approaching Lin Yu, Victoria immediately knelt on one knee, her expression filled with reverence for Lin Yu. She had been waiting for an afternoon. The Supreme Creator had finally come out of seclusion. 56%. Chapter 325 Death Suit. Get up. Lin Yu raised his hand. After Victoria respectfully stood up, Lin Yu turned his gaze to Victoria's back. 3 pairs of fallen angel wings, several meters long, as black as ink, and 3 pairs of even larger, blood-red flowing light wings. Plus a blood-colored fallen angel suit. This appearance is incredibly domineering. Lin Yu smiled and said, Victoria, you have surprised me. Victoria's promotion to 12-winged is the first. Reaching the peak of the demigod level is the second. Previously, she was at the peak of the saint rank and killed the death god, Barkvis, and then subdued the demigod peak level rock demon, which is the third. He never expected that the fallen angel summoned in the morning would be so powerful, seemingly comparable to his secretary, Angelia. Upon hearing Lin Yu's words, Victoria's heart was instantly filled with excitement, and she quickly said, It is an honor for Victoria to receive the Creator's appreciation. I will continue to work hard to serve the Creator. Lin Yu nodded and asked, I'm curious, what happened with the death god, Barkvis? Victoria lowered her head respectfully and said, to my lord, it happened like this. I followed the aura of the rock demon and eventually entered an underground space below the bone temple. Victoria told Lin Yu everything that happened in the underground space, including the rock demon reviving the death god, Barkvis, and the events of the rock demon embracing the holy light. After listening, Lin Yu suddenly realized. So it was the rock demon who revived the death god, Barkvis. Because it was a fragmented consciousness revival, the strength of the death god, Barkvis, was not powerful. In the end, he died at Victoria's hands. Looking at Victoria, Lin Yu said, It is somewhat unexpected that you were able to kill a revived death god at the peak of the saint rank. Victoria thought to herself, what does a mere intermediate death god count for? Even when facing the ruler of the underworld emperor, she is not the least bit afraid. However, when she thought of Angelia's warning, she dared not say much in front of Lin Yu. Victoria changed her mind and said, Angelia can also do such things. Indeed, in Lin Yu's mind, there is almost no problem that can stump his secretary in. He even believes that even in the face of a true deity, secretary and can handle it. After all, she possesses hundreds of different rule powers. When she ascended to become a deity, even the world rules of the floating island couldn't withstand it. Out of concern for the world collapsing, Secretary Anne gave up on becoming a deity. This shows how strong Secretary Anne's power is. At this moment, Victoria took out the spoils of killing the death god, Barkvis, from her spatial equipment and respectfully handed them to Lin Yu. My lord, here is the divine weapon set of the death god, Barkvis, as well as his divinity. As for Barkvis's body, it has already been devoured by my fallen angel sword. In addition, I also obtained the divinity of the death god, Barkvis, and the rock demon. It not only contains their rule mysteries, but also greatly helps with the strength of my lord's divine power after becoming a deity. Earlier, when she learned that the body of the death god, Barkvis, might be hidden in the dark forest, Angelia just wanted to find this corpse, extract its divinity and hand it over to Lin Yu. Victoria, on the other hand, beat Angelia to it and got this done. This is also due to Victoria's good luck. Her original intention was just to kill the rock demon in order to promote her own level to demigod. But she didn't expect that the corpse of the death god, Bacchus, was also hidden in that underground space. It can only be said that luck is also very important. You did well. Lin Yu looked at the pile of spoils in front of him and couldn't help but admire Victoria again. A black and gold death god robe. An exaggerated death god scythe. A completely blue divine weapon space ring. A dazzling divine essence. Plus a light sphere sealing divinity. The value of this pile of spoils can be said to be astonishing. Without exaggeration, it wouldn't be a problem to buy a life planet with them. Of course, this is just a metaphor. Such buyers cannot be found in the floating island world. Lin Yu also immediately checked the information of these spoils. Death God Robe. Type. Defensive equipment. Grade. Mid-level supreme grade divine weapon. Durability. 3 million. Special effect 1. Can greatly weaken attacks from medium-level divine power and ignore damage from weak divine power. Special effect 2. Affinity with death, darkness, and elements increased to 100%. Special effect 3. Greatly enhances the power of death god spells. Special effect 4. Opening square bracket. Closing square bracket. Introduction. This is one of the components of the death god set. Death god scythe. Type. Offensive equipment. Grade. Mid-level supreme grade divine weapon. Durability. 4 million. Special effect 1. Greatly enhances the power of death, darkness, curse, and other divine spells. Special effect 2. Increases damage to souls by 3 to 10 times. Special effect 3. Can control all undead creatures in the mortal world. Special effect 4. Opening square bracket. Closing square bracket. Introduction. This is one of the components of the death god set. 2 divine weapons, combined, form the death god set. Set effect 1. All attributes increase by 50%. Set effect 2. Passively possesses the divine position of the death god. Set effect 3. Activate the power of the set with divine power, and freely transmigrate between the underworld and the mortal world. 56%. Chapter 326. The Gold Mine in the Underground World. Godhood of the Grim Reaper, Bacchus. Rank. Intermediate God, late stage. Divine power contained. Very little. Camp. Underworld. Special effect. Perfect integrated union godhood, can potentially become a true god of the underworld, with a chance of transforming into the Grim Reaper. Integrated union restriction. The user must be a deity, with the highest divine position not exceeding that of an intermediate god. Introduction. Godhood is the key for mortals to open the door to immortality. Apart from these, the remaining spoils of war are the divine light sphere and the space divine weapon ring. Inside the divine light sphere, it contains all the divinity of the Grim Reaper, Bacchus, and the rock demon, as well as the laws they have mastered. Victoria informed Lin Yu that she has purified the divinity of the 2 deities from the underworld, and Lin Yu can directly absorb their power. As for the space divine weapon ring, its rank is a low-level central throne true god artifact, without any particularly eye-catching effects. Just one thing, it has a large space. It is much larger than the spatial ring Lin Yu exchanged from the glory item menu, capable of accommodating the entire floating island world without any problem. Of course, to fit the floating island in it, one must possess sufficient power. Only deities can accomplish such a thing. After thinking for a moment, Lin Yu put on the Space Divine Weapon Ring. He really liked this equipment. Then, he picked up the exaggeratedly shaped Grim Reaper scythe. With a light swing, the space in front of him was cut open, revealing the pitch-black dark world behind. This is still without the blessing of divine power. If he were to wield this Grim Reaper scythe with the power of the same camp's divinity, the power would be even more terrifying, and opening a spatial passage to another world would not be a problem. The Grim Reaper can freely transmigrate between the underworld and the mortal world, mainly relying on it. Coupled with the assistance of the Grim Reaper's cloak, the Grim Reaper can achieve free travel between dimensional worlds. If this were not the background of the Myriad Worlds battle, and in a different theme, Lin Yu would be very willing to become a Grim Reaper who transmigrates through various worlds and harvests souls. What a pity. Lin Yu sighed inwardly. Then he looked at Victoria, who stood respectfully beside him, and asked, "In your opinion, how should this Grim Reaper equipment set be handled?" He originally intended to bestow the Grim Reaper set upon Victoria. After all, the Grim Reaper set was originally dropped by Victoria, and she was also the first 12-winged fallen angel, reaching the peak of demigod level, able to fully unleash the power of the Grim Reaper set. However, after careful consideration, Lin Yu gave up on this idea. Because fallen angels, like the divine angels, have their own exclusive angelic sets. It would be inappropriate for an angel to wear the Grim Reaper set. It may even affect Victoria's own strength. Victoria thought for a moment and said, "My lord, you can temporarily store the Death God set and reward it to someone suitable in the future." Very well. Lin Yu nodded. He put the Death God set, along with the Divine Essence and the Divine Light Sphere, into the Divine Weapon space. At this moment, Victoria respectfully said, "My lord, after I accidentally entered the underground world and killed the Death God Barkvis, I learned that the human-faced Spider Empire and the Dark Elf Empire in the underground world are preparing for war. Do you think we can send a legion to participate in this war? And conquer the underground world at the same time? The underground world is at war." Lin Yu was somewhat surprised and asked, "Have you found out the reason for the war between these two underground empires?" Victoria replied, "While I was in the underground world, I killed a saint-rank human-faced spider and obtained some information from its soul memory. A gold mine has appeared at the border between the Dark Elf Empire and the human-faced Spider Empire. Both underground empires want to claim this gold mine for themselves. In addition, there is a possibility that the Cyclops, Evil Eye Demon, and Undead will also participate in this war. These 5 evil races are basically the rulers of the underground world. The number of races in the underground world is not as many as in the surface world. But their strength is not much weaker than that of the surface world. Especially these 5 evil races, their war power far exceeds the sum of all the local forces in the Dark Forest." A gold mine. Upon hearing this term, Lin Yu's eyes lit up. He had always known that the floating island world had gold mines. This information was revealed by those veteran professionals on the Blue Star Professional Forum a year ago. If they could occupy the gold mine, they could collect a large amount of gold coins. Unfortunately, even now, his army has swept through the entire Dark Forest, but he has not found the so-called gold mine, which makes him quite regretful. "Are you sure it's a professional gold mine, not a local gold mine?" Professional gold mines and local gold mines are not the same concept. The former can directly extract gold coins and can be used to summon troops. The gold extracted from the latter is meaningless to professionals. At most it can be sold on the Blue Star to make some money. "I'm sure it's a professional gold mine." Victoria nodded solemnly. The reason why the human-faced Spider Empire and the Dark Elf Empire want to occupy that gold mine is because it contains a very special power. It is like our primal energy and can help them break through quickly. Then there's no doubt. Lin Yu's mood was uplifted and he said, "We must participate in the war and must occupy this gold mine." Victoria immediately said, "Supreme Creator, please entrust this task to our fallen angel legion. I promise not to disappoint you." Lin Yu was about to agree when he suddenly saw an elegant and beautiful figure walking into the hall. His secretary, N, had returned. 56%. Chapter 327. Victoria was stabbed. Angelia. Lin Yu waved at secretary and as she entered the hall. Angelia immediately walked over and respectfully bowed to Lin Yu. Seeing this scene, Victoria's expression became somewhat strange. because she saw a smile appear on the beautiful face of the creator after Angelia appeared. This smile was different from the one the creator showed when he praised her earlier. To her, it seemed more like a formulaic appreciation. But for Angelia, there was more sincerity and recognition. This indicated that Angelia held a very important position in the creator's heart. Victoria felt a little unhappy. She had single-handedly killed the god of death, Bacchus, not only obtaining multiple divine weapons for the creator, but also subduing the rock demon for him. Yet in the creator's heart, she still couldn't compare to Angelia. But soon, Victoria's slight unhappiness dissipated. She comforted herself. Angelia appeared by the creator's side before her. She had been serving diligently until now. It was only natural for her to receive more attention from the creator. She didn't need to rush. After all, the creator had returned. She had an infinite amount of time to stay by the creator's side and show herself. She believed that one day, the creator would truly focus his gaze on her and give her the same favor as Angelia. Thinking this, Victoria's mood instantly improved. Meanwhile, Lin Yu had already informed Angelia about Victoria's killing of the god of death, Bacchus, and the discovery of a gold mine in the underground world. Victoria is preparing to lead the Fallen Angel Legion into the underground world to participate in the war for the gold mine. After listening, Angelia raised her eyes and glanced at Victoria, who was standing silently by the side. This person is really fast. She actually managed to find the divine body of the god of death, Bacchus, before Angelia, and even subdued the rock demon. She even brought back important information from the underground world that is worth the Lord of Holy Light's attention. Angelia, what do you think? Secretary and immediately replied, My lord, this is a very good war plan. With our current strength, we can completely carry out dual-line operations in both the surface world and the underground world. The dark underground world is similar to the underworld. It is very suitable for fallen angels to exert their advantages. Lin Yu nodded in agreement. He added, in addition to the Fallen Angel Legion, a portion of the divine art-level angels should also accompany us. With them, we can spread faith even in the gloomy underground world. Especially in the Dark Elf Empire. We will use the power of the Holy Light to change the pitiful fate of those dark elves. Wise, my lord, Angelia respectfully said. Victoria, on the other hand, analyzed Secretary Anne's words in her mind. Our fallen angel camp is indeed good at fighting in the underground world. After all, compared to hell, the environment of the underground world is already quite good. But why did Angelia mention the underworld? Victoria was not foolish. On the contrary, she was very shrewd. In just an instant, she understood Angelia's intentions. Her sister and clearly knew that the fallen angels could no longer be confined to hell, so she wanted to release them directly into the underworld, far away from the Lord's divine domain. Angelia was paving the way for future plans. At this stage, the Supreme Creator definitely didn't have such thoughts. But as long as Angelia mentioned it a few more times in front of the Creator, subtly influencing him, it was possible that he might consider it in the future. Furthermore, after the merger of the underworld and hell, it would become a very good great world. It would be enough to accommodate the fallen angel camp. Previously, Victoria herself had the idea of leading a large army of fallen angels to conquer the underworld and form an integrated union with hell. But the problem was that actively conquering and being released were completely different concepts. She would never forget that when she was still the 18-winged Grand Archangel, she had a seat in the Lord's divine domain. She didn't want to be stationed in the underworld forever. Serving by the Creator's side was her dream. You cunning Angelia, I just stole your thunder once, and you're already trying to undermine me. After understanding this, Victoria's chest heaved, feeling a painful ache in her heart. This sister of hers was truly too scheming. Among the three present, only Lin Yu didn't think too deeply. He directly said to Victoria, since that's the case, I'll leave the matter of the underground world to you. Convert those evil races into believers if possible, and purify those who cannot be converted. The purification of fallen angels was even more straightforward and brutal than that of the holy angels. And Lin Yu also believed that a small floating island's underground world would definitely not be able to hold back his fallen angel legion. At the same time, he had confidence in Victoria. After all, Victoria had even killed the god of death. In addition, I have one request. Occupy the gold mine as quickly as possible. Yes, my Supreme Creator. Victoria immediately saluted respectfully. After receiving the signal to leave, Victoria's body was filled with an overwhelming killing intent. Being stabbed by Angelia in front of the creator made her feel very displeased. She was ready to vent her anger on the evil races in the underground world. 56%. Chapter 328 Entering the Underworld. Victoria is an impatient person. Without any delay, after leaving the Hall of the Overlord, she immediately issued the order to the Fallen Angel Legion to march into the underground world. It is now evening. Night has just fallen. Most of the army legions, including the Fallen Angel Legion, have not yet returned to the territory. However, this does not affect the transmission of Victoria's orders. Even the fallen angels, who are thousands of kilometers away, hear Victoria's cold and murderous voice in their minds. In an instant, the fallen angels scattered throughout the dark forest began to gather towards the Bone Temple in the north. Those who were close flew directly. Those who were far away relied on nearby teleportation arrays. In less than half an hour, an army of 300,000 fallen angels appeared in the sky above the Bone Temple. The blood-red light and evil power emanating from them dyed the sky within tens of thousands of meters red. The scene was more terrifying than the bone sea below. Unfortunately, no one was there to appreciate this sight. Even the undead in the Bone Temple. After a day of extermination, the undead in the Bone Temple have been mostly cleared out. In the vast expanse of bone mountains and seas, not a single undead figure can be seen. Even the aura of death has disappeared. Countless white bones have been completely purified by the holy angels, changing their color. The original Bone Sea gave people a sinister and terrifying feeling. Even saint-rank powerhouses would not easily set foot here. But now, the Bone Sea would make people feel warm, and the sinister feeling would completely disappear after entering. It's quite magical. The reason is that the holy and radiant magic power here is too dense. They can cleanse the souls of living beings, making them unconsciously forget their fears. And after the purification of the Holy Angel Legion, this vast Bone Sea can no longer give birth to any undead creatures. With its unique landscape, it would be a good idea to make it a tourist attraction in the future. Apart from the Fallen Angel Legion, all have gathered here. Following Lin Yu's instructions, Angelia also dispatched 3,000 Divine Archetype Grand Angels, Seeker Angels, and 600 Command-type Dominion Angels. The 300,000 fallen angels can be divided into 600 small-scale legions. Each small fallen angel legion is assigned 5 Divine Archetype Angels and 1 Command-type Dominion Angel. The task of the Divine Art-level Grand Angels and Seeker Angels is to spread the belief in the holy light in the underground world. The task of the Dominion Angels is not to command the Fallen Angel Legion, but to open the Gate of Holy Light for the Fallen Angel Legion to enable fast teleportation. The Fallen Angel Legion is the main force in this attack on the underworld. The Holy Angels participating in the battle or providing support. In addition to the Grand Angel, Seeker Angel, and Dominion Angel, Angelia has also friendly dispatched a group of special angels, with the Angel of Love being the largest in number. The task of the Angel of Love is not to provide healing and resurrection services to the Fallen Angel Legion, but to cooperate in combat. The exclusive divine spell of the Angel of Love, Arrow of Love, often has a miraculous effect of turning decay into magic. In addition, the ancient great elf, Doris, has also received orders to come. And she has brought a legion of thousands of dark elves. Doris and these dark elves are here to conquer the Dark Elf Empire more smoothly. For the Dark Elf Empire, Doris's tribe is a good example. These tribal elves have much better lives in Paradise Town than before. Soon, the army expedition to the underworld is fully assembled. 12-winged fallen angel Victoria, the commander-in-chief of the army, found a suitable location within the area of the Bone Temple and summoned her fallen angel sword from the void. Then, she fiercely swung the sword towards the ground. A thunderous roar was heard. The area struck by Victoria immediately collapsed. In the blink of an eye, a giant cave with a diameter of kilometers and a bottomless depth appeared in front of the expeditionary army. The nearby rock demons were startled. They thought it was an earthquake. It wasn't until they reached the surface world and saw the Fallen Angel Legion gathering in the sky that they breathed a sigh of relief and respectfully asked Victoria if they should participate in this war. Victoria directly refused. She told them to obediently guard the teleportation altar. The mission to steal the primal energy of the underworld must not encounter any accidents. Otherwise, when will her infernal soldier legion be able to be cultivated? March. With Victoria's command, the 300,000 fallen angel army surged into the giant cave. This cave leads directly to the depths of the underworld for kilometers. The doomsday for those underground races is coming. Watching the back of the fallen angel army, the rock demons couldn't help but mutter. On those fallen angels, it sensed a terrifying aura of destruction and slaughter that almost made its hair stand on end. It had never seen the legendary Void Demon, but its intuition told it that the madness level of these fallen angels was comparable to, if not surpassing, that of the Void Demon race. It expressed a slight sympathy for the evil races in the underworld. However, soon after, it obediently went back to guard its own teleportation altar. After all, what did it have to do with it? 56%. Chapter 329 The Dark Elf Queen. Just as Victoria led the fallen angel army on an expedition to the underworld, the Dark Elf Empire, located in the underworld, was also not peaceful. In order to occupy the suddenly appearing mysterious gold mine, the Empress of the Dark Elf Empire announced the dispatch of the Empire's main army to wage war against the human face Spider Empire. Upon receiving the Empress's orders, all the Dark Elf cities and tribes responded. They all dispatched their strongest warriors and professional armies to participate in this war. According to incomplete statistics, the size of the Dark Elf Empire's assembled army was at least 2 million or more. Just based on this, one can see how strong the Dark Elf Empire's power is. It is simply incomparable to the Elf Garden on the surface world. After all, one is an empire, while the other is a kingdom-level power. Only the Nature Elf Empire in the Far East can suppress the Dark Elf Empire. At this moment, in the imperial city of the Dark Elf Empire, the Dark Elf Empress is convening a meeting with the Empire's high-ranking officials. On the grand and dark element-filled palace hall, hundreds of figures have gathered. These figures are all at least saint-rank powerhouses. Among them are also several demigod-level existences. Moreover, this is not all of the Dark Elf Empire's strong individuals. There are many powerful Dark Elves who have not appeared here. After all, this is a meeting of those in power. Looking around, not only are these Dark Elf powerhouses strong, but each and every one of them is enchanting and beautiful. Among the elven race, it is rare to find an ugly appearance. Even the ordinary elves are rarely seen. In the transcendent world, elves are synonymous with beauty. Looking at the figures in the hall, the hundreds of Dark Elf powerhouses, most of them are over 100 years old, and some have even lived for several hundred years, but not a single one shows signs of aging. At most, they are ripe peaches. Elegant and enchanting. This is because elves have the characteristic of eternal youth. Even when they reach the end of their lifespan, elves do not age, but rather pass away in a state of extreme weakness. Overall, elves are very good. Your Majesty. At this time, a charming and alluring dark elf stood up. Facing the Dark Elf Empress sitting on the throne in the hall, she respectfully saluted and said, "The scouts we sent out have discovered that the main army of the human face Spider Empire has arrived at a location 100 kilometers away from the gold mine. Besides the human face Spider Empire, the Cyclops Empire, the Evil Eye Empire, and the Eternal Kingdom also show signs of mobilizing their armies. The Eternal Kingdom is the stronghold of the undead. It is also the largest gathering place for undead in the entire floating island world. The forces of undead in the surface world are actually very few. Regions like the Land of Plenty, the Sacred Land of Elves, the 36 Bay Islands, and even the Runkle Prairie, basically have no undead forces with slightly stronger power. Only in the Lake of Silence can some be seen. The Bone Temple, located in the Dark Forest, can be said to be the most powerful gathering place for undead in the surface world. This is because undead creatures have a hard time surviving in the surface world. It's like how everyone would chase after a rat crossing the street. Only the dark underworld is the paradise for undead creatures. That's why the extremely powerful undead stronghold, the Eternal Kingdom, was formed. It's obvious. These three races are also interested in the gold mine. As soon as these words were spoken, the hall immediately filled with discussions. The power of the Dark Elf Empire in the underworld is very strong. They are confident in defeating the spider-faced empire. But if the other three evil races also join in, or even stand on the side of the spider-faced empire, the Dark Elf Empire will definitely not be a match. How hateful. The gold mine appeared at the border between us and the spider-faced empire. Why are those three races getting involved? And if their armies want to participate in the war, they must transmigrate into our territory with the spider-faced empire. What a joke. This kind of thing is absolutely impossible to happen. The empire's territory is sacred and inviolable. The high-ranking dark elves in the hall had a unanimous attitude towards this issue. Even if they don't want that gold mine, they would never allow the armies of other races to enter their empire's territory. It's a matter of national dignity. Let me interject. The armies of those three forces definitely wouldn't dare to invade our empire's territory. What we should focus on are their powerful individuals. Our empire's fortified border cities can temporarily resist their armies, but we can't defend against their saint rank and demigods. The hall quickly fell silent. This is indeed a very troublesome problem. Finally, the dark elves in the hall all turned their gaze to the dark elf empress sitting on the throne. The dark elf empress is a woman with a stunning beauty. She wears a black and gold long dress with a V-neck. There is a string of purple gemstone necklace on her neck, and the gemstones shimmer with a dazzling brilliance, highlighting her delicate snow-white skin. The long dress is bound by burgundy ribbons, outlining her graceful figure. She has long, silky dark red hair. She wears an exquisite and luxurious crown on her head. Her beautiful cheeks are adorned with heavy makeup, and her eyes have deep red pupils. Her moist lips are a bright red, like blood. On both sides of her mouth, there are also two small fangs, resembling a vampire. This dark elf empress exudes an air of nobility and elegance, yet also possesses a seductive and dark beauty that surpasses even Doris, the former dark elf chieftain. If Lin Yu were here, he would definitely appreciate her greatly. 57%. Chapter 330. Revenge when there is hatred, repay injustice when there is injustice. Do not pay attention to those three forces. Just focus on fortifying the border stronghold. On the throne, the Dark Elf Queen spoke. According to the established plan, the Imperial Army will occupy the area where the gold mine is located and construct defensive and war structures. Her voice was cold, with a touch of arrogance. The purple gem on her neck blended with the snow-white peak. With the breath of the Dark Elf Queen, a faint purple light radiated. It reflected the Queen's breathtakingly beautiful face. And her words gave great confidence to the Dark Elf assembly in the hall. The Dark Elf Queen was not only the strongest in their Dark Elf Empire, but also the pinnacle existence of the underground world. She had single-handedly defeated the one-eyed giant emperor, who was also at the pinnacle of the demigod level. Speaking of the Dark Elf Queen's strength, she could already break through the world barrier and enter the myriad worlds battlefield, becoming an eternal deity. The reason she did not go to the myriad worlds battlefield was because the floating island world without the presence of deities was more appealing. Just at this moment, the Dark Elf Queen suddenly changed the topic and asked, "Has the investigation into the destruction of the tribe led by Dark Elf Doris been completed?" The mother tree of the Dark Elf Empire's capital city was the main tree. The mother trees of other cities and tribes were nurtured from branches separated from the main tree. There was a special connection between the main tree and the other mother trees. Therefore, at the moment when Doris's tribe was destroyed and the Dark Mother Tree disappeared, the main tree in the Imperial City sensed it. The destruction of a tribe was not a small matter for the Dark Elf Queen. After all, it was difficult to cultivate a Dark Elf Mother Tree. The Dark Elf Queen was very eager to know who had the audacity to invade her empire's territory and destroy the tribe under her rule. To Her Majesty the Queen. A Dark Elf stood up and respectfully saluted. "The team we sent to investigate has returned and obtained some useful information. That tribe has turned into ruins. The mother tree inside the tribe has disappeared. The Dark Elves led by Chief Doris are also nowhere to be found. In the ruins of the tribe, the investigation team did not find any elf corpses, blood, or fragments of souls. However, the investigation team sensed the presence of residual divine and light magic there. In addition, the investigation team also discovered a destroyed undead stronghold nearby, where the divine and light magic on the battlefield was even stronger. It can be basically confirmed that the culprit is a creature from the light camp. And it is highly likely to be from the surface world." Upon hearing this, the Dark Elves in the hall began to discuss again. Surprise could be seen on their faces. Because creatures from the surface world rarely enter the underground world. This was the stronghold of the evil races. The surface demigod dare not be too arrogant. Now, there are actually surface creatures intruding into the underground world, and they have even destroyed a tribe of their Dark Elf Empire, which has surprised and angered them. The expression of the Dark Elf Queen is also somewhat unpleasant. The coldness between her eyebrows becomes even more intense. She took out a magic map from her personal space equipment and glanced at it, saying, "The location of Chief Doris's tribe corresponds to the Dark Forest in the surface world." As she spoke, the Dark Elf Queen frowned slightly. As far as she knew, the Dark Forest did not have the influence of the Light Camp. The headquarters of the Light Creatures is in the bountiful Great Lands. And the underground world region corresponding to the bountiful Great Lands is only a small part in the eastern territory of her empire, while most of it is in the territory of the Arachne Empire. But no matter what, if the culprit is a follower of the Light Church in the bountiful Great Lands, then the destroyed tribe should also be in the eastern region of the empire. According to common sense, if the followers of the Light Church want to experience, they would directly look for a passage to the underground world in the bountiful Great Lands, instead of crossing thousands or tens of thousands of kilometers to the dark forest to find an underground passage. Therefore, the Dark Elf Queen speculated, the culprit is not from the Holy See of the Light Church, but is already located in the dark forest. There is a great possibility that the Light Overlord who has descended in the dark forest, leading his army of light creatures into the underground world, has destroyed Chief Doris's tribe and the stronghold of the undead forces. There are no interdimensional professionals in the underground world. However, this does not mean that these underground races are unaware of the existence of interdimensional professionals. On the contrary, they know a lot of information. They not only know that there are combat professionals among those interdimensional professionals, but also know that there are overlord professionals who can summon various types of troops. Your Majesty is wise, the Dark Elf complimented, and then said, the investigation team did find a passage to the surface world nearby. We have temporarily sealed off that passage and have not taken any action. Very well, the Dark Elf Queen said, after the gold mine incident is over, send a powerful transmigrated individual to that underground passage to enter the surface world and find the culprit to avenge Chief Doris's tribe. When saying this, the expression of the Dark Elf Queen was filled with strong killing intent. As an evil race, Dark Elves are not to be trifled with. If their tribesmen are bullied, they naturally seek revenge and settle grievances, even if the enemy is in the surface world. However, the Dark Elf Queen does not know that the person she is looking for has already led a large army into the underground world. She is lucky, because the fallen angel army is taking the underground passage in the Bone Temple area, which corresponds to the territory of the Arachne Empire in the underground world. If they had taken the underground passage near Paradise Town, they would have entered her empire. By the way, the territory of the Dark Elf Empire corresponds to only a part of the Dark Forest in the surface world. A large part of it is in Runkle Prairie in the Southern Sea. A part of the Eastern Territory also extends to the bountiful Great Lands. In short, the first to face the fallen angel army is still the Arachne Empire. 57%. Chapter 331 Being too ugly is also a mistake. On the other side, after the fallen angel army entered the underground world, Victoria immediately constructed teleportation arrays. For this expedition to the underground world, she brought thousands of teleportation arrays, all crafted by the artisan angels of her territory. For the artisan angels, constructing teleportation arrays was a simple task. In order to help the troops of Paradise Town conquer and rule the Dark Forest more quickly, the artisan angels had been constructing a large number of teleportation arrays during this period. Victoria brought all those teleportation arrays with her. With the teleportation arrays, the troops of Paradise Town could also teleport in at the first moment, without relying on the transmigrate underground passage. Of course, this was only in case of special circumstances. If nothing unexpected happened, only newly summoned fallen angels would use the teleportation arrays to march into the underground world. At this moment, ancient great elf Doris came to Victoria and said, Lady Victoria, it seems that this is the territory of the spider-faced Spider Empire. I know. Victoria nodded. The territory of the Dark Elf Empire is in the southeast direction, we don't need to rush over there. Let's first eliminate the cities and tribes of the spider-faced Spider Empire and improve the overall strength of our legions. She planned to wait until the powerful forces of the evil factions gathered in the gold mine area, then lead the fallen angel army to directly kill them all and wipe out those evil creatures. She didn't want to conquer one faction after another. That would be a waste of time. Understood. Doris seemed a little regretful. She was eager to go to the capital of the Dark Elf Empire. However, she didn't want to become the new Dark Elf Queen. When she first joined Lin Yu, she had such thoughts. But now, she was no longer interested in the throne of the Queen. She just wanted to serve by the side of the Lord of Holy Light. After all, she had not successfully inherited the bloodline of the Lord of Holy Light. So many times had passed, and there was still no progress. And the reason she was so eager was to help the great Lord of Holy Light conquer the esteemed Dark Elf Queen and let the entire Dark Elf race embrace the Holy Light. She firmly believed that the Holy Light was the future of the Dark Elves. On this side, Victoria used her spiritual consciousness to give the legion commanders of each fallen angel legion the order to go to war. Soon, the 300,000-strong fallen angel army split into legions of varying sizes and marched towards the planned war route. Victoria had previously devoured the souls of thousands of spider-faced spiders, plus the soul of a saint-rank spider-faced spider. So she was very familiar with the spider-faced spider empire. She passed on this information to each legion commander of the angel legions. Let them lead their fallen angel legions to attack on their own. The spider-faced spiders were definitely an evil race and followers of the spider goddess. For this race, the fallen angels' war plan was mainly focused on extermination, with surrender as a secondary option. After all, they were just too ugly. Even the fallen angels living in hell couldn't stand them. Of course, this was a minor factor. The main reason was that Victoria wanted to improve the overall strength of the fallen angel legions. The number of fallen angels was already fewer than that of the divine angels. If they couldn't catch up in terms of strength and level, wouldn't that be a waste? How could this 18-winged fallen Grand Archangel show herself in front of the Supreme Creator? Soon, the war broke out. The nearest tribes, dens, and cities of the spider-faced spiders were the first to encounter the attacks from the fallen angel legions. Countless fallen angels turned into streams of blood and rushed into these strongholds. They killed every spider-faced spider they encountered. Regardless of gender, regardless of whether they were big or small spiders, all were killed by the fallen angels, and their blood and souls were devoured. In addition, these strongholds were also destroyed one after another. The spider webs were burned to ashes. Before leaving, the fallen angels also built teleportation arrays on the ruins, directly teleporting the spoils of war back to Paradise Town. With the continuous invasion of the fallen angel legions, more and more strongholds of the spider-faced spiders fell in the flames of war, and a steady stream of spoils of war and resources gathered in Paradise Town. After learning the news, Lin Yu once again praised Victoria. This newly promoted 12-winged fallen angel was indeed capable. On the side of Paradise Town, night fell, and some weaker legions returned. The elite legions remained outside hunting. Basically, there were saint-rank powerhouses guarding every battlefield area, so even if countless undead creatures emerged from the underground at night, it was difficult to threaten the elite legions. On the contrary, the undead creatures in the dark night were considered experienced monsters by the elite legions. The relatively weaker legions, centered around Paradise Town, hunted undead creatures in the surrounding areas. In short, the dark forest at night was very lively. Lin Yu was not idle either. He summoned Radiant Saintess Tiffany back. Together with the Chief Secretary Angelia, they counted the abundant spoils of war obtained today. 57%. Chapter 332 Great Harvest. Today's gains can be described as explosive. Just the gold coins alone exploded to over 9 million. The quantity of equipment and blueprints also exceeded 100,000. Especially the blueprints, so many that even Lin Yu couldn't imagine. Because today, in just one day, the army of his territory destroyed a large number of local Foss's strongholds. There were over 600 destroyed elven cities, tribes, as well as Naga cities and tribes, and some other races' strongholds. The number of acquired building blueprints exceeded 50,000. In addition, there were other types of blueprints, such as unit quantity blueprints, unit evolution blueprints, equipment blueprints, and so on, so many that it was unimaginable. Of course, this is not the biggest gain. The biggest gain is resources. Food, wood, stone, iron ore, as well as magic materials, metal materials, and other resources can be described as massive. The total quantity reached several billion units. To the point where Lin Yu's several fully upgraded resource depots couldn't hold them all. A part of the resources needed in the near future piled up in the northern region of the territory. Another part was stored in Angelia's spatial equipment, to be taken out when needed in the future. My territory is completely not lacking in food and basic resources. Especially food. Even though the number of my subjects exceeds 10 million, there is so much food that it can't be finished. At least for the next 2 to 3 months, there is no need to worry about food. Aside from the captured food from the many strongholds, the territory's stockpile of beast meat is astronomical. Today, the army of the territory once again hunted down tens of millions of wild monsters, which can be decomposed into hundreds of millions of units of beast meat. And yesterday's war had even more hunted wild monsters. There were tens of millions of them. Tens of thousands of subjects worked overtime, and until now, they still haven't been able to completely decompose the corpses of those wild monsters. If nothing unexpected happens, when all the wild monster corpses are decomposed, the stockpile of beast meat in Paradise Town will exceed 2 billion units. With so much food, Lin Yu's subjects can eat for 2 to 3 months without any problem. After all, during this time, the army of Paradise Town will continue to hunt. After finishing off the wild monsters in the dark forest, they will attack the neighboring Runkle Prairie. In addition, the war in the underground world has also begun. There will be a constant stream of food and other resources being transported back. So, Lin Yu doesn't need to worry at all about the problem of insufficient food due to the large number of his subjects. And as for building Paradise Town, constructing or upgrading the buildings in the territory, there is no need to worry about the consumption of basic resources. Whether it's food or basic resources, he now has an unimaginable amount. It wasn't until 10 o'clock in the evening that the spoils were finally counted. Lin Yu put the unused equipment and blueprints on the island trading channel, one after another. The equipment that was needed was distributed by Angelia. The ordinary blueprints that needed to be used were also given to Angelia. Lin Yu has completely started using Angelia as his secretary. He entrusts both big and small matters to Secretary N. Whether there is something or nothing, he still chats and talks with Secretary N. Just as Victoria thought, Angelia has already occupied a very important position in Lin Yu's heart. In the entire Paradise Town, no one can compare. The gentle and charming seeker angel Elena. The petite and lovely angel of love Shirley. The enchanting ancient great elf Doris. And the radiant saintess Tiffany, who is determined to become the perfect maid. None of them can compare to Angelia. It's not because Lin Yu is being biased, but purely because Angelia is just too good at her job. From managing the territory and the Legion's wars to even handling Lin Yu's meals, Angelia does everything in an orderly manner. Sometimes, she even washes Lin Yu's underwear. Who wouldn't like a secretary like this? It took about half an hour. All the tens of thousands of equipment items that Lin Yu put up for sale have been sold. However, there are still many blueprints that couldn't be sold. This is because at this stage of development, the majority of Overlord professionals already have enough ordinary building blueprints. Blueprints like fence or warehouse simply have no buyers on the trading platform. Only special building blueprints like blacksmith workshop, pharmacist manor, or professional tower are sought after by Overlord professionals. This is mainly due to the scarcity of Overlord professionals. The total number of Overlord professionals on the floating island doesn't exceed 10,000. They are only a fraction of the number of combat professionals. Furthermore, blueprints are not consumable items. Naturally, they become cheaper and even unsellable. However, this doesn't have much impact on Lin Yu. After all, he doesn't rely on selling blueprints to make money. Equipment and potions are his main sources of income at this stage. Both of these are consumable items. Especially potions, they are one-time use items. Equipment also has durability, and when it reaches a certain level, it affects the attributes and quality of the equipment. In this situation, either find a blacksmith to repair it or replace it. Moreover, as the strength of professionals improves, they need to replace their equipment with higher level ones. So even now, the demand for equipment on the island is very high. By selling equipment and potions, Lin Yu can earn a huge amount of gold coins every time. A total harvest of 67 million gold coins. Lin Yu takes a deep breath. This astronomical number makes it hard for him to remain calm. In addition to that, he still has over 800 stronghold treasure chests that haven't been opened. For some reason, he inexplicably feels a sense of anticipation. 57%. Chapter 333 Treasure Box and Surprise. Under Lin Yu's gaze, the floor of the hall was covered with treasure chests of various levels. Silver treasure chest, golden treasure chest, diamond treasure chest, and even rainbow crystal level treasure chests. The silver treasure chests were the most numerous, with over 500. Next were the golden treasure chests, with over 270. The fewest in number were the rainbow crystal level treasure chests, with only 2. They were obtained from the destruction of the Elf Garden, stronghold and the capital of the Naga Kingdom. Originally, he could have obtained 3 rainbow crystal level treasure chests. Unfortunately, the Bone Temple was destroyed by those Nightmare Knights. This directly resulted in Lin Yu losing 1 rainbow crystal level stronghold treasure chest. It was truly regrettable. On a side note, that Nightmare Knight team was also wiped out. The 4 demigods, including the 6-winged angel of strength Iota, Sally, Lich King, and dragon of the Sanctum Oster, easily killed those nightmare knights. Among that nightmare knight team, there was only one demigod. The rest were all at the saint rank and transcendent levels. Such strength was not enough to contend with the 4 demigods of Paradise Town. After killing those nightmare knights, Iota and Sally were promoted to demigod late stage. Their next task was to ignite the divine fire. In addition, the Lich King, Elf Queen Brianna, and the Naga Queen were also preparing to ignite the divine fire. They themselves were veteran demigod late-stage powerhouses. Perhaps it was because their foundation was not enough. Or perhaps they were worried about not being able to overcome the divine fire tribulation. So they had never ignited the divine fire. But now it was different. They killed a large number of enemies today and obtained a huge reward of primal energy. There was no need to worry about their foundation. Now, they had all become followers of the Lord of Holy Light and firmly believed that the great Lord of Holy Light would bless them. So they were confident in overcoming the divine fire tribulation. They just needed to make some preparations and they could attempt to break through. As the stronghold treasure chests were continuously opened, messages from the myriad worlds floating island appeared one after another in Lin Yu's mind. There were too many messages, which gave Lin Yu a headache. In the end, he directly closed most of the messages, leaving only the messages for opening the diamond treasure chest and rainbow crystal level treasure chests. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord, you have successfully opened a diamond level stronghold treasure chest. You have obtained 50,000 units of food, wood, 10,000 gold coins, 3 blueprints for the nature elf unit, a bottle of large primal energy, 10 unit evolution blueprints, 2,000 glory points, and 30,000 reputation points. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord, you have successfully opened. You have obtained food, wood, a blueprint for forging high-level equipment, 5 blueprints for the Fishman unit, 2,000 glory points, and 30,000 reputation points. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord, you have successfully opened. After opening a pile of diamond-level stronghold treasure chests, Lin Yu gained a great harvest. He obtained over 200,000 gold coins alone. He also obtained 45 unit blueprints and over 70 unit evolution blueprints, all of which were at least high-level blueprints. In addition, Lin Yu also obtained a blueprint for forging high-level equipment. This was a good item. It allowed him to unlock the ability to forge high-level equipment in his blacksmith workshop. High-level equipment referred to equipment from level 7 to level 9. At this stage, there were still very few professionals who had reached levels 7 to 9. They were mostly top-tier combat professionals and high-level overlords and apex-level overlords who had reached this level. But Lin Yu believed that soon there would be more and more high-level professionals appearing. Now, forging high-level equipment was not too advanced for him. The price of high-level equipment is higher. But I believe those top-tier professionals won't hesitate to spend gold coins on high-level equipment, especially supreme-grade high-level equipment with special attributes. They will love it. Looking at the blueprint for forging high-level equipment in his hand, Lin Yu could already imagine that more and more gold coins would soon come rushing towards him. He was basically making money hand over fist now. Other overlord professionals couldn't compare to him in the equipment industry. The equipment he sold occupied a large share of the trading platform. It could be said that all the overlord professionals with blacksmith workshop combined couldn't match the quantity and quality of the equipment he sold. Next were the 2 rainbow crystal level treasure chests opened by Lin Yu. At the moment of opening, colorful rays of light filled Lin Yu's vision. Soon, the message prompts appeared. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord, you have successfully opened a rainbow crystal level stronghold treasure chest. You have obtained 100,000 units of food, wood, 30,000 gold coins, a source of water attribute laws, 2 blueprints for apex level units, Naga unit buildings, 5,000 glory points, and 50,000 reputation points. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord, you have successfully opened a rainbow crystal level stronghold treasure chest. You have obtained 30,000 gold coins, a blueprint for a unique unit building in your territory, a current floating island magic map, 5,000 glory points, and 50,000 reputation points. Looking at the second treasure chest message prompt that appeared, Lin Yu took a deep breath. Sure enough, his intuition was correct. He received a pleasant surprise. 57%. Chapter 334 The Appearance of the Angel Reincarnation Pool. The other items opened from the treasure chest are not important. This includes the water attribute law origin, 2 Naga unit blueprint, and even the magic map of the entire floating island, none of which Lin Yu cares about. What he is uniquely interested in is the blueprint for the exclusive territory unit. Because his exclusive unit is an angel. This means that his angel unit building has appeared. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately took the blueprint and checked its information. Exclusive territory unit blueprint. Type: Angel Rebirth Pool. Usable times: 1 time. Summonable unit: Angel. Construction requirements: 300,000 units of wood, 200,000 units of stone, 150,000 units of iron ore. Introduction. This is an extremely rare unit building blueprint that can only be used by overlords whose exclusive unit is an angel. I hit the jackpot with this one. Looking at the information on the blueprint in his hand, Lin Yu's smile brightened. He was also extremely excited. He immediately shared this good news with Secretary and beside him. An angel rebirth pool. Angelia's golden eyes flickered slightly, and then she smiled and said, with the territory having an angel rebirth pool, my lord now has another way to summon angels, and it doesn't even require spending gold coins. That's right. Lin Yu nodded and said, the angel rebirth pool indirectly helps me save a large amount of gold coins. Just like the dark elf mother tree in the territory, Lin Yu doesn't have to spend a single gold coin, but can freely obtain 10,000 apex level units, dark elves, every day. If lucky, he might even harvest an elemental elf. For example, the holy light elemental elf with silver long hair, Lilith. For some reason, every time Lin Yu sees Lilith, he feels an inexplicable familiarity. Although there are many affairs in the territory now, Lin Yu still occasionally pays attention to this holy light elemental elf. When he learned that Lilith had been promoted to demigod, Lin Yu even praised her and urged her to continue working hard to reach the peak of demigod as soon as possible. After hearing Lin Yu's words, Angelia did not respond. She just listened quietly. Well, no matter what, as long as the Great Lord of Holy Light is happy. In fact, Angelia also enjoys the feeling of being with the Lord of Holy Light now. The previous Lord of Holy Light was only focused on cosmic affairs and rarely descended into the divine domain. All the affairs of the divine domain were managed by the 18-winged Grand Archangels like them. Even for the 18-winged Grand Archangels, it was not easy to meet the Lord of Holy Light. But now it's different. The Lord of Holy Light has embarked on a different path. Temporarily putting aside everything before, and even lacking the memories of the past. And she has the opportunity to serve by the side of the Lord of Holy Light. This feeling makes her extremely satisfied. Surpassing the conquest of the universe by leading the army of angels, myriad worlds. Sometimes, Angelia even secretly wishes that time and space could be imprisoned on this floating island. That way, she could maintain her current state and serve the great Lord of Holy Light. In comparison, returning to the battlefield of myriad worlds seems to be meaningless. Unfortunately, she cannot freeze the time and space of this floating island, even if she displays her peak divine power. It's not because the power of the myriad worlds battlefield affects this floating island. It's because the Lord of Holy Light is here. The position of the Lord of Holy Light is not something she can imprison. No power can imprison or even influence the position of the Lord of Holy Light. Previously, in order to besiege Paradise Town more quickly, the Lich King used divination techniques in an attempt to predict the exact location of Paradise Town. The result was not a successful prediction. Instead, he spurted blood on the spot, nearly losing his life. The reason was that Lin Yu was in Paradise Town. Fortunately, the Lich King predicted Paradise Town. If it had predicted Lin Yu, it would have perished on the spot, not just spitting blood. Position is a very mysterious thing. It seems illusory, but it actually exists. On this side, Lin Yu took out several blueprints again. Among them were 6 blueprints for Naga units and 5 blueprints for Nature Elf units. These 11-unit construction blueprints are all apex-level buildings. 5 of the blueprints were obtained when destroying the strongholds of the Elf Garden and Naga Kingdom. The other 6 blueprints were just obtained from opening treasure chests. Lin Yu didn't hesitate. Immediately, he went outside the Hall of the Overlord. He searched for a suitable place to build these unit buildings together. Soon, Paradise Town had 5 tall nature elf mother trees and a lake with a diameter of about 10 kilometers. The 6 Naga unit buildings were located in the center of this lake. They looked like the nests of some creatures, but they were actually called Naga Palace. They were entirely purple and exuded a mysterious aura. It must be admitted that the appearance of this lake also made the environment of Paradise Town more beautiful, giving a pleasant feeling. Next, Lin Yu used the blueprints to build the Angel Rebirth Pool. The Angel Rebirth Pool was about 500 meters long. It was made of white jade and covered in intricate patterns. The pool was filled with a milky white liquid that emitted extremely pure divine and holy light magical fluctuations. Its aura was sacred and could cleanse the souls of living beings. Beside the rebirth pool, there stood a tall statue. This statue was none other than Lin Yu's idol. 57%. Chapter 335. The Full-Level Angel Reincarnation Pool. When Lin Yu's gaze fell on the statue, the information of the Angel Transcendence Pool also appeared in his field of vision. Unique Unit Building. Angel Transcendence Pool. Level 1. Sealed. Summonable Unit. Angel. Number of angels summonable per day, 50. Next level. Level 2 Unit Building. Upgrade requirement. 10,000 gold coins. Introduction. This is the core building of the Angel Clan and the foundation of their inheritance and development. For the Angel Clan, nothing is more important than this. Special reminder. Upgrading the Angel Transcendence Pool can increase the summoning quantity and the probability of summoning special angels and high-ranking angels. Just like the Dark Elf Mother Tree. The number of angels summoned at level 1 is also 50. The difference is that the Dark Elf Mother Tree nurtures, while the Angel Transcendence Pool summons directly. You can summon once a day. The number of angels summoned each time is determined by the level of the Transcendence Pool. At this moment, Lin Yu saw the words, sealed, appearing on the information panel of the Angel Transcendence Pool, which made him feel somewhat puzzled. Could it be because the level is too low? When the Dark Elf Mother Tree was built, there was no mention of sealing. Lin Yu also checked the information of the recently built Nature Elf Mother Tree in Naga Palace, and found that there was no mention of sealing either. Whether it's the Dark Elf Mother Tree, the Nature Elf Mother Tree, or the Naga Palace, they are all apex level unit buildings. But the Angel Transcendence Pool is a unique unit building. Sealing might be the reason. As for what is sealed, Lin Yu is still not clear for the time being. He asked Myriad World's floating island, but did not receive a response. Ever since Victoria killed the god of death, Bacchus, yesterday, Myriad World's floating island has been indifferent to him. This also made Lin Yu feel very strange. Upgrade first. The upgrade requirement of the Angel Transcendence Pool is higher than that of other unit buildings. It requires a whole 10,000 gold coins. In contrast, the Nature Elf Mother Tree and Naga Palace only need 5,000 gold coins to upgrade to level 2, just like the initial Dark Elf Mother Tree. But Lin Yu doesn't care about this. He doesn't even need to spend gold coins to upgrade. Because he has a large number of territory building upgrade blueprints in his hands. From low level, middle level, high level, to apex level building upgrade blueprints, he has them all, totaling more than 100. These building upgrade blueprints, some were directly obtained when destroying local Foss's strongholds. Some were obtained from stronghold treasure chests. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately upgraded the Angel Transcendence Pool, directly from level 1 to level 10, using a total of 9 blueprints of various levels. The consumption of these blueprints is nothing to Lin Yu, who is currently wealthy and powerful. After reaching the maximum level, the Angel Rebirth Pool has undergone significant changes. Firstly, its appearance has become much larger. It spans nearly 10,000 meters. The statue itself is over a kilometer tall. It looks very magnificent. It gives off a sense of awe, like a world wonder. Secondly, the milky white liquid in the pool emits a more concentrated and pure divine and luminous magic power. It seems that one can even hear echoes of sacred sounds hidden within. Lastly, there have been changes to the information of the Angel Rebirth Pool. The level 10 Angel Rebirth Pool, just like the Dark Elf Mother Tree, can summon 10,000 angels every day. The probability of summoning special angels and high-ranking angels has also greatly increased. At the same time, there is now a probability of summoning mature angels. Mature angels are angels in their prime. For example, the 2-winged angel reaches the demigod level in its prime. The 4-winged angel is at the peak of demigod. The 6-winged angel is directly a true god. In other words, through the summoning of the Angel Rebirth Pool, the summoned angels will not all be at their initial level, some will be in their prime. However, what puzzles Lin Yu is that the words, sealed within, have not disappeared. In other words, the Angel Rebirth Pool is still in a sealed state. What's going on? Lin Yu doesn't understand. He expresses his doubts to Angelia, who is beside him. Since Myriad World's floating island is unreliable, he naturally has to rely on his own secretary. Angelia has also seen the information about the angel rebirth pool, and says to Lin Yu, "To my lord, this is because the world's laws of this floating island are too weak to accommodate the appearance of God-level angels. So it must be temporarily sealed. To prevent God-level angels from mistakenly entering the floating island and causing it to collapse." I see. Lin Yu suddenly realizes and says, "Does this mean that once we capture and integrate other floating islands in the Union, and strengthen the power of the world's laws, the seal on the angel rebirth pool can be lifted?" "Yes, my lord." Angelia nods and says, "However, it is not necessary to capture other floating island worlds. As long as the power of the world's laws can accommodate the appearance of God-level angels, the seal on the rebirth pool can be immediately lifted. At that time, not only can you directly summon true God-level angels, but you can also greatly increase the number of summoned angels." "That's great news." Lin Yu's face is full of smiles. After successfully resolving his doubts, he begins to summon angels. 10,000 may not seem like a lot. After all, Lin Yu already has millions of angels. But over time, the number is still quite substantial. If there were more angel rebirth pools, it would be even more enjoyable. 58%. Chapter 336 Divine Domain is shocked. "My lord is back. Should I activate the angel reincarnation pool and summon angels?" "Yes, number. Summon." Lin Yu decisively chose yes. Immediately, a dazzling holy light bloomed from the angel reincarnation pool. The statue of Lin Yu, located next to the angel reincarnation pool, also emitted a dazzling divine light. When Lin Yu's gaze turned back to the statue, something strange happened. His vision seemed to transmigrate through endless time and arrived in an immensely vast world. That world was filled with rich divine and luminous power. Looking around, the earth was covered with towering white cities. Each city was enormous to the extreme. Moreover, each city's walls were loaded with a large number of war weapons. Each city was also filled with countless angels. All of them were fully armed. He not only saw a large number of third-level 12-winged seraphim, throne angels, and wisdom angels, but also archangels with even more angelic wings. Lin Yu couldn't even count how many cities and angels there were. What shocked Lin Yu was that all those densely packed white cities were the terrifyingly powerful City of Angels. This directly stunned Lin Yu. Just as Lin Yu was lost in thought. In those countless large and small cities of angels, countless fully equipped angel legions flew out. They gathered in the sky, forming an immense sea of angels. Trillions, quadrillions, too many to count. What was even more terrifying was that all those angels were adults. The weakest among them were demigods. Among them were also countless true gods and main god-level angels who possessed great divine power. They sensed Lin Yu's consciousness. Without hesitation, they rushed into the sky. Excitement filled the delicate cheeks of each angel. The golden eyes were filled with endless fanaticism and reverence. In the next moment, all the angels placed their hands together on their full chests and saluted in unison, saying, "Praise you, the great Lord of Holy Light. May the Holy Light be eternal. May the Holy Lord be everlasting." The orderly and terrifying sound wave swept across the entire world, causing the winds and clouds to change color and the stars to tremble. And Lin Yu seemed to be awakened, as his consciousness instantly withdrew from this world. Just after Lin Yu's consciousness disappeared, the trillions of angels gathered in the sky above disappeared simultaneously, taking out their weapons and raising them high in the air. Then, they shouted like madmen, "Serving the great Lord of Holy Light, the fire of faith shall never be extinguished. Believe in the Lord and gain eternal life." At the same time, the billions of cities of angels in this world emitted dazzling holy light, like suns falling onto the surface of the world, blindingly bright. At the end of the world, 5 figures, each towering millions of meters high, sat on majestic thrones. Among them, 3 figures were sacred and untouchable. The remaining 2 figures exuded an aura of evil, destruction, and slaughter. The 5 figures opened their eyes together. The consciousness of the Supreme Creator has returned. Shall we continue to fight? This battle is meaningless. I sense that the divine nature and divinity sealed by our Lord for tens of millions of years have been activated and are in the process of recovery. In no time, our Lord will truly descend upon the divine domain. Retreat. Go back and prepare the army. In the myriad world's battlefield, let us welcome the great Lord of Holy Light with respect. As they spoke, the 3 sacred figures disappeared on the spot. The 2 figures shrouded in blood-red light glanced at each other. We must also speed up. Victoria has already served by the side of the Creator. We don't need to worry about the floating island world. Don't worry. They even sent the angel reincarnation pool over. It's fine. It's just a throne angel reincarnation pool. After we go back, we will coordinate the fallen angel army and the Hell Legion, and one day we will sweep away all obstacles for the Creator in the myriad worlds battlefield. Alright, I have one worry now. What are you worried about? I'm afraid Victoria is not a match for Angelia. You know, among those few, Angelia is the most cunning. On the side of Paradise Town. As the light from the angel reincarnation pool dissipated, a total of 10,000 angels appeared in Lin Yu's field of vision. The angels summoned by the angel reincarnation pool were different from the ones summoned by the Hall of the Overlord using gold coins. They did not need to adhere to any summoning ratio scheme. What angels could be summoned depended entirely on luck. When Lin Yu's gaze swept over, he immediately saw a large number of high-ranking angels. Hundreds of 6-winged angels. Nearly 100 8-winged angels. There were also more than 30 10-winged angels. The rest were all 4-winged angels. There wasn't a single 2-winged angel, which was the lowest rank. Just as Lin Yu had said before, the angel reincarnation pool could save him a large sum of gold coins. And it was indeed true. Just those 30 plus 10-winged angels alone were worth 600,000 to 700,000 gold coins. To say a little more, all the angels summoned from the angel reincarnation pool were divine angels, with no fallen angels present. At this moment, Lin Yu saw a 10-winged angel holding a scepter and wearing an exquisite crown. This is an angel lord. 58%. Chapter 337 10-winged angel Lord Alice. From unlocking permissions until now, Lin Yu has already summoned about 20 10-winged angels. Aside from 1/3 being 10-winged fallen angels, the remaining 10-winged angels are either 10-winged angels of strength or 10-winged seeker angels. The War Command type 10-winged angel lord has not been summoned yet. And this summoning from the angel reincarnation pool can be considered a surprise for Lin Yu. Not only did he summon more than 30 10-winged angels at once, but there was also an angel lord among them. This made Lin Yu very happy. The only regret is that this summoning not only had a small number of special angels, but there were also no fully mature angels from their prime. Although the angel reincarnation pool in the seal cannot temporarily summon true god level angels, but it would be fine to summon 2-winged angels and 4-winged angels at the demigod level. Especially the 4-winged angels. In their prime, they are at the peak of the demigod level. They are already the strongest fighting force in the floating island world. If Lin Yu could summon a few of these 4-winged angels, he would dare to say to the countless races in the floating island world, who else? Unfortunately, there were none. I wonder if it's because the goddess of luck, Harlan Glynn, happened to be napping. However, Lin Yu didn't feel too disappointed. After all, the fully leveled angel reincarnation pool can summon 10,000 angels every day, and one day he will be able to get what he wants. Lin Yu summoned the 10-winged angel lord. In her expectant gaze, he gave her the name, Alice. Then he checked her information. 10-winged angel lord. Initial level. Demigod early stage. Growth potential. Supreme throne true god peak. Possesses divine arts. Mind guardian, eternal wall, holy light gate upgraded version. Introduction. A 10-winged angel lord belonging to the orthodox faction of the angel race, under the command of the 12-winged seraphim. They are the commanders and decision makers on the battlefield, and under their leadership, the Angel Legion can unleash even greater combat power. Looking at the information of the 10-winged angel lord, Alice, Lin Yu couldn't help but admire her. She was truly strong. In terms of growth potential, the angel lord is on the same level as the other 10-winged seeker angels, 10-winged angels of strength, and even the 10-winged fallen angel, reaching the level of supreme throne true god peak. But Alice's initial level directly broke through the saint rank. She was born as a demigod. She truly lived up to being a war command type angel. Praise you, great lord of holy light. 10-winged angel Lord Alice saluted Lin Yu excitedly. It is my honor to receive your bestowed name. Lin Yu nodded and waved his hand, saying, you may leave and join the other angels in clearing out the enemies in the dark forest. Yes, my lord. 10-winged angel Lord Alice respectfully retreated. Soon, a group of angels flew out of Paradise Town in a grand manner. It is already late at night. The war under the cover of night has long begun. Countless undead creatures emerged from the underground, forming an endless sea of undead, wandering in the dark forest. Alice and the other angels have no worries about finding enemies. Then, Lin Yu took out a large stack of blueprints from the spatial divine weapon. There were more than 100 of them. All of them were unit quantity blueprints. There were nature elves, naga, treants, unicorns, fishmen, and more. And most of the blueprints were of high levels. There were 15 apex level unit quantity blueprints, each of which could summon a large scale unit of 5,000 soldiers. This is the harvest of attacking transcendent level forces. If it were other overlord professionals, attacking small or medium sized local forces, they would never obtain unit quantity blueprints of this level. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately used all of these blueprints. Soon, numerous figures appeared densely in the square of the territory. The nature elves, naga, treants, and other units summoned from the blueprints were all elites, and each of them was fully armed, without the need for individual equipment. Lin Yu roughly calculated. This wave of summoning brought him nearly 200,000 elite units. There were nearly 3,000 units at the Saint rank level alone. There were over 50,000 units at the Transcendent level. This is truly terrifying. To say a little more, after the war in the past 2 days, the number of demigods in Paradise Town has exceeded 20, and the number of Saint rank professionals has skyrocketed to over 10,000. As for the Transcendent level units, there are countless. And with the continuous war, units are constantly advancing to higher levels. Especially the angels, their promotion speed is very fast. Because they are powerful in combat and kill more enemies. Finally, this blueprint. Lin Yu flipped his right hand, and a golden light emitting blueprint appeared in his hand. This blueprint was obtained when he destroyed the capital of the Naga Kingdom, and it was also the blueprint that Lin Yu wanted the most at the beginning of this war. Lord's Manor Building Blueprint. Territory Building Blueprint. Type: Lord's Manor. Usable times: 1 time. Construction requirements: 50,000 units of wood, 30,000 units of stone, 10,000 units of iron ore. Special reminder: the Lord's Manor is one of the most important buildings in the territory. It is the core of a city-level territory and the center of power concentration. With it, your territory can open the door to establishing a kingdom. 58%. Chapter 338: Establishing a Kingdom. City Lord's Mansion is the core building for upgrading city. Without this blueprint, the Overlord cannot upgrade to a city. And it is even impossible to establish a kingdom. When Lin Yu first arrived at the floating island, his goal was to have a kingdom-level power. Now, his dream is finally about to come true. His emotions couldn't help but become excited. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately went to the vicinity of the Hall of the Overlord and found a suitable location to use the City Lord's Mansion blueprint. This location is in the central area of the entire territory. Next to it is the Hall of the Overlord. In order to free up this area, Lin Yu even moved the position of the Dark Elf Mother Tree. By the way, the buildings in the territory can be moved. And there is no limit to the number of times. This allows overlords to design and plan their territories perfectly. Soon, the blueprint in Lin Yu's hand disappeared. In the area in front of him, a huge building shadow appeared. It is obvious that the shadow is in the shape of a palace. There is a main hall and 9 subsidiary courtyards. The main hall is the public office area. The subsidiary courtyards are the private areas exclusive to the Overlord. If everything goes well, after the City Lord's Mansion is built, Lin Yu will no longer live on the 2nd floor of the Hall of the Overlord. The rest area will be moved to the backyard of the City Lord's Mansion. The 9 subsidiary courtyards will be given to Elena, Doris, and others. As for Lin Yu himself, he can live wherever he wants. It doesn't matter if he changes every day. In about half a minute, the building shadow in Lin Yu's hand completely solidified. A magnificent and luxurious palace complex appeared in Lin Yu's sight. The gate of the palace faces the territory square. On the plaque above the gate, there are 3 golden characters, City Lord's Mansion, engraved. Although they are characters from the transcendent world, Lin Yu miraculously recognizes all of them. Of course, this is not important. With the completion of the City Lord's Mansion, a message from the Myriad Worlds floating island appeared in a timely manner. Congratulations, Lin Yu, Overlord. Your territory has met the conditions for upgrading to a city. Would you like to upgrade? Yes, number. Upgrade. There is naturally no need to hesitate. Lin Yu decisively chose yes. In an instant, a dazzling golden light emerged from the void and quickly enveloped the entire Paradise Town. Then, the area of Paradise Town began to expand rapidly. The 4 majestic city walls expanded rapidly towards the surroundings. The spatial area inside the territory was visibly and rapidly increasing. At the same time, the Hall of the Overlord near the City Lord's mansion also became more magnificent. But compared to the palace complex like City Lord's mansion, the Hall of the Overlord looked more like a standalone villa. It is unknown how long it took. The changes in the territory gradually stopped. The dazzling golden light that enveloped the territory slowly disappeared. Finally, a brand new and even larger territory appeared in front of Lin Yu. Congratulations, Lin Yu, Overlord. Your territory has been upgraded to city level. You have met all the conditions for establishing a kingdom. You can set the current city in your territory as the capital and establish your own kingdom. Special reminder 1. After establishing a kingdom, your name and the title of your kingdom will spread throughout the entire floating island world. Your capital will be specially marked, and all intelligent creatures in the dark forest will know. Special reminder 2. By establishing a kingdom, you will become an enemy of all native forces in the floating island world. Please choose carefully. Lin Yu completely ignored the special reminders from the myriad world's floating island. Can the native races of the floating island coexist peacefully with him, an overlord from another world, without establishing a kingdom? Naturally, that's impossible. As for the marking of the capital, there is no harm in it. After all, there are no native forces in the dark forest that can threaten his territory anymore. Soon, he will be able to rule the entire dark forest. Therefore, Lin Yu directly communicated with the myriad world's floating island in his mind, expressing his intention to establish a kingdom. Please confirm whether to establish a kingdom. Yes, number. Confirmed. Respected Lin Yu, Overlord, please name your kingdom. After thinking for a moment, Lin Yu said, Heavenly Kingdom. Please name your capital, the Sacred City. Congratulations, Lin Yu, Overlord. You have successfully established a kingdom-level power, the Heavenly Kingdom. Your name will resound throughout the world. Congratulations, Lin Yu, Overlord. As the first Overlord to establish a kingdom-level power among all professionals, you will receive the following rewards. Reward 1. Exclusive King's Equipment Set Demigod Grade. Reward 2. 3 Random Law Origin Sources. Reward 3. 1 million gold coins. Reward 4. 10 million units of spirit rice, 5 million units of wood, stone, and iron ore each. Reward 5. 10,000 glory points, 100,000 reputation points. Special reward. 4 blueprints for subsidiary city buildings. At the same time, the world announcement about Lin Yu establishing the kingdom-level power, the Heavenly Kingdom, appeared in the island chat channel. Those rows of dazzling golden characters instantly shocked countless professionals. 58%. Chapter 339 Sensational World Chat Channel. Although it was late at night, there were still many professionals gathered in the island chat channel to chat and socialize. The sudden appearance of the world announcement instantly shocked everyone in the channel. After waking up, countless professionals opened their friends list, calling their friends to come and witness the arrival of a deity. As time passed, more and more professionals gathered in the chat channel. When they saw the rows of golden characters at the top of the channel, they were instantly dumbfounded. This was because the establishment of the Heavenly Kingdom came too suddenly. It was beyond the expectations of all professionals. They originally thought that Lin Yu would prepare to establish a kingdom only after completely conquering and ruling the Dark Forest. After all, establishing a kingdom required many conditions, especially the need for a city-level territory. It should be noted that at this stage, the territories of most overlord professionals were only at the village level, mostly middle-level villages, with a few high-level villages. There were almost no overlord professionals who had a small town-level territory. On the other hand, Lin Yu. He had already upgraded his territory to the level of a city. This speed could no longer be described as fast. Island Chat Channel. Lin Yu is amazing. He established a kingdom so quickly. My territory has just been upgraded to a high-level village, while Lin Yu's territory is already a kingdom-level force. The limited vocabulary I have can only describe my current mood with one word: wow. Lin Yu's capital city is called the Holy City. I really want to go and see it. I don't even want to expose you. Are you going to see the city? Opening square bracket. Closing square bracket. On another note, the world rules of Floating Island have already marked the location of the Holy City. Those who are closer can go and explore first. What's the point of exploring? Let's wait for Lin Yu to speak. Indeed, before Lin Yu speaks, who dares to approach the Holy City easily? What if they get killed by those angels? Where can they go to reason? When will Lin Yu start recruiting citizens for the kingdom? I can't wait anymore. Also waiting. After becoming citizens of Lin Yu's kingdom, we can hunt freely in the dark forest. I really want to know if Lin Yu will open the holy city to us. Of course, it has to be opened, otherwise where will we live? Live in tree holes, where else? Opening square bracket question mark closing square bracket. Every second, the chat channel was filled with a large amount of new information. Countless professionals freely expressed themselves in the channel. The conversation was lively and enthusiastic. And the most concerning matter for professionals was when Lin Yu would start recruiting citizens of the kingdom and whether he would open the sacred city to them. Not only combat professionals, but many overlord professionals were also concerned about these issues. The reason was simple. No professional wanted to become Lin Yu's enemy. Only by joining Lin Yu's heavenly kingdom could they be considered one of his own. Even if they couldn't receive Lin Yu's protection or the so-called kingdom's welfare benefits, at least they didn't have to worry about being considered heretics and exterminated by Lin Yu's angelic army. As for joining the heavenly kingdom and surrendering 70% of their daily income, this harsh condition was no longer mentioned. In this cruel world of floating islands, where one's life could be lost at any moment, survival was the most important thing. If they couldn't even guarantee their survival, how could they become strong? Moreover, after joining the heavenly kingdom, they would have the support of a powerful entity. Whether in the world of floating islands or in the future myriad worlds battlefield, the heavenly kingdom would have their backs, giving them more opportunities to become gods. Compared to that, resources and such seemed unimportant. After all, they gained experience by killing monsters in the wilderness. They only had to hand over a portion of their gold, equipment, blueprints, and other items. These things were important to overlord professionals, but not so indispensable for combat professionals. Therefore, many professionals hoped to join Lin Yu's kingdom. Especially those in the dark forest, they were the most eager. Before joining the heavenly kingdom, they didn't even dare to hunt in the wilderness. Because in the current dark forest, Lin Yu's troops could be seen everywhere. Even at night, there were massive armies of troops under Lin Yu's command besieging monsters and undead creatures outside. How could they dare to go out recklessly? After all, it's better to be safe than sorry. At this time, the Great Alliance channel was also filled with discussions. Almost all the leaders of the alliances, high-level overlords, and apex-level overlords were speaking up. They were eagerly discussing Lin Yu's establishment of a kingdom. Even Xia Qingyu participated in the discussion. She had been waiting for Lin Yu's reply, but until now, Lin Yu hadn't responded to her. She could only console herself, thinking that Lin Yu must be too busy and hadn't seen the message she entrusted, Bright Village Chief, to pass on to him. It's worth mentioning that there were two apex-level overlords who didn't appear in the Great Alliance channel. One was the more desperate Golden Behemoth overlord. The other was the unlucky Sikong Jun. It's unknown whether he had managed to deal with the high-level level 6-inch skeleton mage in these past few days. But regardless of whether he succeeded or not, Sikong Jun's desire to surpass Lin Yu had completely fallen through. 58%. Chapter 340 Battle in the Land of Plenty. Not only the professionals on the island knew about Lin Yu establishing a kingdom. Even the local forces on Floating Island knew. All the local forces were incredibly shocked and couldn't believe it. It's unimaginable that the person named Lin Yu, the overlord from another world, has developed so quickly. In just half a month, he has already established a kingdom. Give him another half a month. Won't he even establish an empire? Just this alone is enough to make them extremely vigilant. They have even raised the red flag of danger. Many local forces consider Lin Yu and his Paradise Kingdom as the biggest threat, claiming that if they don't eliminate the Paradise Kingdom, their world will face a great disaster. Even the Queen of the Nature Elves, located in the Far East, thinks the same way. She even remotely contacted the team of powerful elves sent to the Holy Sea of Light, preparing to remind them to be careful of the Paradise Kingdom when they go to the Dark Forest later. The result that shocked the Queen of the Nature Elves was she couldn't contact the team she sent out. How could I not contact them? According to their traveling speed, they should have already arrived in the bountiful land. And they should have met with the high-ranking officials of the Holy Sea of Light. There's no reason why I can't contact them. Could something unexpected have happened? Thinking of this, the Queen of the Nature Elves suddenly felt a sense of unease, with a bad premonition. But as she pondered, she also didn't understand where the root of the accident could be. Considering the strength of that team, unless it was a demigod-level other powerful individual who personally took action, it would be impossible for them to disappear without any news. What could that team have encountered? The Queen of the Nature Elves frowned, her exquisitely beautiful cheeks filled with confusion. At the same time, the followers of the Holy Sea of Light in the Bountiful Land were as excited as if they were injected with chicken blood. The high-ranking officials of the Holy Sea of Light commanded a massive army of followers, as well as the regular army of 2 human kingdoms, launching a frenzied attack on the cities and territories within the Kingdom of Kilias. The establishment of the Paradise Kingdom was most exciting for these followers of the Holy Sea of Light. They sensed the presence of the Great Lord of Holy Light. Especially those high-ranking officials, they were so excited that they wanted to conquer the Kingdom of Kilias as quickly as possible, and then go to the Paradise Kingdom, in the Dark Forest to pay homage to the Great Lord of Holy Light. Looking down from the sky, it can be clearly seen that the Holy Sea of Light and the armies of the 2 human kingdoms have already invaded the territory of the Kingdom of Kilias. In order to complete the task entrusted by Lady Angelia, the living forces of the Holy Sea of Light can be said to have been mobilized to the fullest. 2 human kingdoms have dispatched all their professional legions to participate in this war. The total number of professionals gathered exceeds tens of millions. Under the guidance of the Holy Light and Faith, this massive army of human professionals is rampaging through the territory of the Kingdom of Kilias, conquering cities and plundering land. Even if the Kingdom of Kilias fights to the death, they cannot stop it. As one city after another falls, the defensive line of the Kilias Kingdom's army is continuously shrinking towards the core region where the capital is located. If there is no external assistance, it is only a matter of time before the Kingdom of Kilias is conquered. In this situation, the king of the Kilias Kingdom can only repeatedly request assistance from the Dragon Clan. If they don't come, his kingdom will be lost. At this moment, on the battlefield of the Kilias Kingdom, inside the central camp of the Holy Sea's army, a battle has just ended. It can be said that the battle happened quickly and ended quickly. If the Elven Queen of Nature were here, she would have discovered that the team of powerful elven warriors she sent to negotiate with the Holy See has all turned into lambs to be slaughtered. Dozens of powerful elven beings have all been sealed in magic and bound, thrown on the ground like little chicks. Among them, there are even strong individuals at the saint rank level. But they are still no match for the Holy See. Because in this attack on the Kingdom of Kilias, all the strong individuals of the Holy See have been mobilized, and even the main camp, the Cloud City, has no one left to guard it. These elven beings are surrounded by a group of red-robed bishops, archbishops, and temple knights, and there is no escape for them. Even before they could react, they were captured. Because they never expected to be besieged by the strong individuals of the Holy See. After all, they are the elves of nature. They don't judge by appearances but by character. Behind them, they have the support of the Elven Empire. Moreover, the Holy See and the Elven Empire have never been hostile forces. The Holy See had no reason to capture them. But how could they know? Since the 18-winged Grand Archangel descended upon the Holy Sea's main camp, the Cloud City, the Holy See has not been the same as before. The appearance of the Lord of Holy Light and the angelic spirit has given the Holy See a new future. Under the guidance of faith, not to mention a mere elven empire, they would not hesitate to stand against the whole world. What does it matter to capture a few elven beings? Even the high-ranking members of the Holy See have discussed that they will hand over these beautiful elven beings to the Dark Forest as an offering to the Great Lord of Holy Light. Forest is an offering to the Great Lord of Holy Light.